I've gone from a room full of typewriters to COO of an AI company, and that's how fast this technology has moved. I've never really been interested in clever technology just for its own sake. I'm interested in the tech that means that someone goes home safe who maybe wouldn't have. Let's benefit the humans in the world with the advantage of technology. Can you explain it to me in muggle terms? I was actually on a call recently with a colleague. He was in the car and he was in the back of the car, and I said to him, can you explain it to me in muggle terms? And she immediately thought of Harry Potter and now thinks her dad is a wizard.
Welcome to the DevReady podcast, where we're helping non-techs build great tech. Today joined by Sarah Payne, who's the COO of Isotana AI. And I call them a real AI business, looking at vision, imagery, and some real models behind all everything they're doing. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the episode. But Sarah, thank you for joining us. And as always, thanks for coming on to the DevReady podcast, and lovely to have you here.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me, Andrew. Happy to be here.
Sarah, before we jump into Isotana AI and your current role, I'd love to understand a bit about yourself and how you ended up in product and now COO of a business looking after delivery, product, and everything in between.
Yep, no worries. So I'm Sarah Payne. I'm currently the CEO of Isotana AI. So we're a Perth-based ASX-listed company, and we've got software that does self-learning AI-powered surveillance for security and safety. So what that means is we point our software at thousands of live camera feeds, and we have our AI flag events in real time when anything happens in front of those feeds that security operators need to see. So trip and fall, or someone in distress, or maybe somebody loitering around the premises late at night, something that would have got missed otherwise. And that's the part that really drives me. So I've never really been interested in clever technology just for its own sake.
It needs a value and an outcome, right? It's any technology.
Yeah, I'm interested in the tech that means that someone goes home safe who maybe wouldn't have. Let's benefit the humans in the world with the advantage of technology.
And yeah, talking about real AI company, I imagine quite a lot going on from a back end in terms of a lot of data crunching, massive amount of server component consumed in the back end and models, etc. So might dive into that a little bit later, but let's talk about you. Obviously in Perth now, Sarah, UK accent. How did you get to Oz? Where did it all start?
Yeah, I came up through products. I started as a product manager here at Isotana AI, and then I moved into the head of product, and then I've stepped into the COO role. So I've had a few different roles here. But something that was interesting about me is that so I'm 43 years old. I don't think that's ancient, but I'm kind of middle-aged, we could say.
No, I wouldn't say it's ancient. I'm just in the 40s as well, so I don't feel like that. But for 20-year-olds listening, they probably think we're very old talking.
So my first job out of university was actually in UK local government, like you say. You can hear I'm from the UK. So, and when I started in that role, people in the offices were actually still using typewriters, and I like that just felt crazy for me. In my 20s.
Even when you were 20, so yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's UK government, so a little bit behind.
Everything's delayed, yeah, an extra 10 years behind, if not more.
Yeah, so in a single career, like so far, that's not even actually been a long career yet. I've gone from a room full of typewriters to COO of an AI company, and that's how fast this technology has moved. Yeah. I'll tell you a bit about how I actually ended up here. So we were in the UK, and my husband and I had qualified to come over to Australia. But how it started was we actually attended a presentation by a migration agent in the UK, and he was an Aussie guy, and this was in a hotel in the UK in a conference room, and it was absolutely chucking it down. It was almost like he had designed it that way. And then he gets up, stands at the front, and he is what I would think of as an Australian back then. So he's got the long surfer hair. He's wearing a suit without a tie, but he's got sunglasses on inside the hotel room in the rain.
Fascinating.
And flip-flops, or thongs, as you guys would call it. Yeah, and a thick Aussie accent.
So he's really put this show on.
He was absolutely perfect, honestly. And in the middle of all that rain, he was like a walk-in advert for sunshine. It was perfect. So everything we knew about Australia, or everything I knew about Australia, I'd learned off the TV. Like I thought I was just going to move to Summer Bay and like bump into Alf Stewart. Like this is
It's big in the UK, the old Home and Away, isn't it?
Home and Away and Neighbours. I don't know if Neighbours is running anymore, but
It's still running in some off kilter channel, but yeah, I think it's lost track.
all we know of Australia.
Yeah, it's more the Home and Away that's bigger these days.
And actually, I think Home and Away was more popular in the UK as well. It had a better time slot, I think, from memory. But yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to bump into Alf Stewart and I was going to live on the beach, and that's all of Australia. And I realised how ridiculous this is because it's the same. I've had this before as a Brit, and I've gone to the US, and I've actually had a person from the US ask me if I know Prince William.
Look, it's just he lives down the road.
Yeah, I'm like, for a start, we are not in the same social circles, but also the UK is bigger than you think and very densely populated. Like, and he doesn't just walk around London. Like, no, I don't.
Yes, no, I'm sure that's not the case.
And then I realised that it mirrored me thinking I was going to see Alf Stewart on a beach in Summer Bay when I got to Australia.
Very similar. Yeah, very true.
Yeah. So anyway, we decided to go for it. We sold our house in the UK, moved out here, just myself and my husband, left all our family, never been to Australia, didn't know anyone in Australia. It was the middle of the GFC in the UK, and we were like, there has to be something better. Let's just go. We bought a camper van in Sydney. We lived in the van for 6 months. Best 6 months ever.
Was it?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Enjoyed Australia, yes.
Yeah, oh, beautiful country, Nullarbor, everything. Just yeah, and the Nullarbor at night time, those stars, I had never seen anything like it. I mean, from London, the light pollution is intense. I've probably never been anywhere as clear.
You probably travelled more around Australia than I have by the sound of it.
Well, I think I know some Australians that have travelled a lot more around the UK and Europe than I have. So I think it works both ways.
Yeah, it's just very true.
Yeah. So we drove across the Nullarbor. We got to Perth, and we'd run out of money. So we were like, "Oh, okay, better get a job." So we got jobs, no trouble at all. Australia was booming. This was 15 years ago now. We built a house, and we've never left since.
Yeah, so settled in Perth.
Yeah.
Why did you pick Perth? What was it about Perth that you settled into?
It was only that we'd run out of money when we got here.
Okay, so that was where you landed. Okay, there you go. It's coincidentally. Yes.
We thought it was going to be Sydney, but when we saw Sydney and Melbourne, when we were kind of driving around and spent a bit of time there, we realised how similar it was to where we had come from, and Perth felt different. It was more relaxed. I know they say WA is wait a while. Can be frustrating. I mean, incredibly frustrating. You can't get anything to eat after 8 o'clock at night anywhere in Perth. That still happens. Sunday trading hours make me tear my hair out. But coastline, beaches, lifestyle, just...
Yeah, there's pros and cons and everything, right? Yeah. That's a beautiful city, especially the coastlines. Yeah, you've got nice, and the weather's reasonable too because you're a bit higher up, similar to that Sydney sort of weather.
Yeah, without the humidity as well that you get in kind of Queensland areas.
Yeah, that's just higher again. Yeah, a little bit too hot for my liking up there.
So the way that I actually got the visa, we came over with myself having permanent residency through this migration agent, and I didn't fully realise at the time what a golden ticket that was. So when I was in local government, I was a business analyst for a while. I started writing minutes for the council meetings. Had a few different roles there. But I moved in. I actually studied multimedia at university, and I moved into an Oracle position in the IT team at the local government. So I was an Oracle DBA. And when we went to apply for the visa for Australia, they were like, "You're on the list." They were like, "Mate, you're getting in." And with an Oracle DBA, yes. But the kind of weird thing was that I spent my whole days, talking to machines. At some point, I realized I didn't want to just talk to machines anymore, and I wanted to talk to people. I wanted to build teams of smart people, and then help people using technology. So that's the whole reason that I ended up moving out of that pure kind of technical DBA role and into the product and leadership space instead.
Well, product is more conversational, right? So you're dealing with multifaceted teams where you might be talking to UX, UI designer, development team, engineers, clients, end users. Yeah, there's a variety. You might even go higher up and talk to C-suite because they're making big decisions on product and budgeting. There's lots there when you're looking at product.
Yeah, and it's communication is at the heart of all of it. Just constant and clear communication, and listening, not just talking all the time.
So when you landed in product, what was your first exposure to managing product? What was that like, that experience? Where did it begin?
Yeah, well, I think I was doing it without realizing I was doing it, and I'm actually not sure that I knew product was a function and a thing. And I think even thinking back to the business analyst roles that I've had a couple. They were very much bridging the gap between the tech and the customer, and I think that's that product layer now.
Yeah, it starts to become there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just think we didn't know it when I was kind of doing it back then, kind of 15 years ago. And I've got project management experience as well. I did that for a little while. So I think the blend of the business analyst and the project management kind of, I fell into product. Yeah.
Which is really all of the above in some capacity, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And I realized that quite selfishly, I actually loved making the decisions, and I like being accountable for the decisions, good ones and bad ones. I'll own them. But I like being the one that listens, gets the smart people in, listens to everyone, but is the person that was like, okay, I hear you all. We're going to do this. Let's do it. And then own that, even if and when it might go wrong.
It's one of the most important roles in a tech business, really. Yeah, delivery and execution's critical, but product decisions can just burn capital if you make the wrong ones in reality. And that's, yeah, it needs good, thorough analysis. In terms of your journey of working in product, how have you made your decisions? Being non-technical, not an issue. I think it doesn't really matter in the end. It's probably getting the right information at the right time to be pivotal to make decisions. There's obviously that consumer side or user side, customer side, but then there's that internal trade-off between what's technically viable, what's not, we have the budget to move, what the roadmap currently looks like versus what we have to shift it to. How have you found maneuvering around that particular area in your role especially in the early days?
Yeah, I mean, it can be tricky, very tricky. So I see product as as I said, the bridge between kind of the tech and the customer. But you need to solve customer problems with what you're offering, but it has to be in line with the business strategy and direction. And then that also has to be within.
Yeah, you don't want to go off a completely different train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also you can't spend millions of somebody else's money, especially if it doesn't exist. So the budget is something to consider, but
There is a limitation, of course, of all the time. There's never an endless budget.
yeah, I'm an example of that. You don't actually need the ability to write the code to lead the people that do write the code. I think I'm just in the product space. I'm just asking good questions, translating what it means.
It's curiosity.
And I'd say I'm a genuinely curious person anyway. And I definitely, as I said at the start, that I definitely want to use technology to help people. I think that's what we should be using it for. There's a lot of scared people out there and a lot of nefarious ways that you can use technology. But I'm here to use it for good. Yeah. So something I quite often say is can you explain this to me, like I'm 5 years old or something to the engineers? And
That's a great question.
also, actually, we say at Isotana quite a lot, can you explain it to me in Muggle terms? And I was actually on a call recently with a colleague, and his daughter he was in the car and he was in the back of the car. And I said to him, can you explain it to me in Muggle terms? And she immediately thought of Harry Potter and now thinks her dad is a wizard, which is amazing.
Classic.
Yeah. But it's just like, I think it's good for me to hear it in those terms, but I also think it's really good skill, which not every engineer has, is the ability for them to explain it in a term without being patronizing, but actually kind of get to the bottom of what they're trying to say, think about it differently. And I always try and hire and build teams that have a good blend of that. So we can make sure that we're all smart people. We're all just smart in very different ways. And we've got a good generalized skill set in the room.
Agree. Yeah, there's all different. Everyone's got a skill set to bring to the table, and without the engineers, we can't deliver the outcome. Without the product people, can't deliver the outcome either. Without the clients at the other end with the real problems, what are we solving for? So, it is all a bucket of everyone's working towards the same goal. I think there's an interesting point around engineers being patronising. You've seen that. I've seen that across my career, where you have people that just put their engineer talk on, and it's like that can come from that perspective. Have you broken through? I think it's a really good question. Talk to me like a 5-year-old. Yeah, and just being open that you don't get it. And I think that helps. Trying to pretend you understand is the worst thing you can do if you're speaking to an engineer, in my experience.
Absolutely. And the patronizing, I mean, it's not just an engineering function. I mean, anyone can be, and people in product can be as well and have been. But I think if you're just genuinely curious and trying to understand and all pulling in the same direction, it just works. I think just being clear and open and honest. And I try and match people at the level that they like to be communicated with, actually down to the form of communication. Some people are cool on a 5-minute Zoom chat. Other people would rather do it in writing over Slack. Some people would rather arrange a meeting for an hour's time so they can get their thoughts together first. So just try and balance that and match their styles also. But I mean, smart people doesn't necessarily mean like a formal education. So some of the smartest people I've worked with just have got that way through travel, real world experience, and just doing hard things and learning from them. So I mean, that kind of smart over a qualification is very much more valuable for me, I would say.
I read something on your LinkedIn podcast, and I think it's critical to someone who wants to jump into product because it is challenging. It's working best in the ambiguity, and lots of moving parts, and being able to maybe think about it from all different directions and what that might look like, because there are many moving parts in product. There's never one perfect answer, or anything in anything technology. So in terms of that area, what do you find? Have you always been that way, or is that something that you've grown into over the journey?
I think it does come back to that natural curiosity, which I think is how I ended up as a business analyst. I mean, even at home, sometimes I drive my husband mad because I can see more efficient ways of doing things at home. And like, it really doesn't matter if you get the teaspoon and then you go back to the same drawer and get something else. Whereas I would be like, just get the two things out the drawer at the same time. And you're
not walking twice. So I get it. I remind myself sometimes I do that. I'm going to the pantry, so I have to go back there. So I won't. Yeah, I know. I do the same thing a little bit.
But you're getting extra steps in if you do it that way. So there's pros and cons to these things. But I love the craziness and the chaos of situations with a tight deadline, high impact. I like that adrenaline. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's what's exciting. In fact, I kind of get a bit bored if everything is just going really well. So I enjoy those elements. Where it's come from, I'm not really sure. I just like to be in that space. It's stressful, but the highs are highs, the lows are lows. But I kind of like those extremities, and I like to kind of wrap it all up into a nice actionable plan and then just deliver on that with the right people.
Brilliant. Let's talk about Asatana AI a little bit more, and what you're doing day to day in your role as COO as you evolve from product. What does that look like? Who you're engaging with? What are your key deliverables there in terms of your day to day?
Yeah. Okay. So Isotana AI, just a background for those that don't know. So we do make AI software that you plug into your CCTV cameras. So everyone everywhere's seen these slick AI demos, but almost nobody has to run it across thousands of live camera feeds 24/7 in real world situations. When you have dodgy cameras, the lighting's bad, the cameras are old, just messy real world environments.
The data's not as good. Yeah, correct.
And the gap between the shiny demo AI and then the real world, that's where the real cost lives, and that's where the real hard work is. And kind of the AI model may be like 10% of it, but it's dealing with all the real world situation in the software that's kind of that next part. So yeah, I mean, it's good software. I've said before, we always want to use our geeky powers for good here. We want to save people's lives. We have with this technology.
Which is powerful.
This is what gets people exciting.
Rewarding too.
Yeah.
When we build products, we all want people to use it, get value from it, and if you can save lives, that's a bonus that nobody else really gets access to, or not many do in terms of technology.
Yeah, and I can see when I'm interviewing people, when I'm hiring people, if they resonate with our mission of keeping people safe. You can just see them light up in the room where they're like, I'm on board with that. Let's do that. And that's great. It's really powerful. Yeah. I mean, in the real world, our AI will flag things that absolutely are not threats. So sometimes it can get very concerned about a pigeon or a cat.
It's interesting reality for people to understand.
It is like people in, kind of not quite as familiar with AI. It's like Minority Report, Hollywood movie style. Thinks possibly that's what they're getting.
Everything in the movies are perfect, but yeah, that's not reality.
But the reality is the unglamorous, iterative approach of trying to make it work, and it's a long way from those demos and that Hollywood thing. We're going to get there, don't get me wrong, but AI isn't quite there yet.
It's one iteration at a time, really, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah, but all the mess and complexity of the AI is our problem as the providers of the AI. It's not the users, and you mentioned customers earlier. Yeah, I mean, we give AI to people that have sometimes barely really spent time at a laptop. Like talking about product management being the bridge between the engineering and the business and the customers, we have the same in our software. So we've got really super complex AI models and LLMs running, and we're giving it to somebody who may never really have used a laptop much, or definitely not sat in front of a computer. So that interface in the front end needs to be really simple and really, really intuitive for them. They don't need to know that what's behind it. They don't need to know that it's AI, or if it's got GPUs, or where the servers are, or any of that. They just want to know if somebody is falling over, or if there's somebody walking around with a knife. You tell me now, and you tell me like immediately within 5 seconds, because I need to get out there. And that's what we do.
That's the outcome they're after, and that's the safety side that you talk about, and keeping people safe. Yeah, it's a huge thing in terms of, and that's interesting because you've got this real complex product at the back end, which is consuming lots of streams of video. How does it run? Does it run on the edge? Does it run in the cloud? What does it look like?
Yeah, so most of our customers have their servers on-prem, and we find actually not only is that the best use of the compute power and the GPUs required to run the models, but actually it's security footage, so like super sensitive.
You don't want to send that everywhere. Yeah, it's fair.
So most people want to keep it on site anyway. In fact, we've got a customer in the US that is a completely dark site with their own electrical grid. So yeah, and we've got sites that we have to do upgrades and things we have to fly into, give them our passports, things like that.
I'd be fascinated by that. Yeah, it's great to say, yeah, it's on-prem, there's better security, but then it becomes a bigger problem for you. People might understand, how do you deploy an update if it's needed? Yeah, it becomes a hell of a lot more complex. So how do you manage that as a team? You mentioned you might have to fly somewhere to do that.
Yeah. Well, we have great partners. We've got a great partner network and resellers for us around the world. We work very closely with them. But where we can, we also will send our team out for good real world experience anyway. But yes, it's just the management of the issues. But it does mean that when we send out new releases of our software, they need to be like really, really ready, because we might deploy on a site and we might not hear anything for 12 months. And then if they suddenly don't want to renew a contract or something because there was a bug in the software, we'll be like, oh, what? We didn't even know. Yeah, so we do need to deliver to quite a high level every time we do.
And that probably goes into how do you run QA on a product like this, especially when you're the challenges it is AI models and picking up alerts, etc. When you have those false positive results, how does that get reported? What do you do with that? There's some real complexity layers in there.
There definitely is, and there's kind of um, there's the element where the numbers, what's the difference between releases in terms of numbers around the false positives? Like we look at confusion matrix, and we've got looped footage that we'll run again and again for testing, and we know what we should detect and what we shouldn't.
Yeah, which is setting it up to understand if there's a problem. Yeah, there's some consistency behind it. Of course, you need that.
So there's like that quantitative element. But then there's very much a personal, how does it make me feel, quality element to what's actually being shown to these operators. Is it useful? Is it wasting their time? Have they seen it 3 times already? And that's the part that is a lot harder for us to test and understand. So we work very closely with our customers. We have some customers that do testing on their sites for us and give us feedback. So we've got some early kind of those people that love the technology. Yeah, they're few and far between.
There's always some out there. There's some out there. I said some, not everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely in the security space. So when you think of security, you think of industry's old technology and software, and sitting in front of hundreds or thousands of live camera streams is a very old way of running this business and this function. This is ripe for the help of AI, because we're not designed to work that way. Humans don't work that way.
No, we don't. Yeah, it's easy to get distracted, isn't it?
Yeah, and even distracted by other parts of their job. You know, people knocking on the door, lost children, people in a shopping centre, university.
You're no longer sitting in front of these cameras. Yeah, correct.
Taking your eye away for 5 seconds and something happens and you've missed it. Yeah.
And then that goes down to the value proposition that you're adding. If AI can deliver the outcome, then we can have security actually engaging in the community or around the facilities rather than sitting in a room watching camera feeds, because that still exists, I'm assuming.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we actually find that we can free up people to spend more time being present and more visual around these sites. And that does give people safety, like, yeah. It's a deterrent for anyone nefarious possibly coming in, but it also makes people feel safer. I see the police on my walk into work in the mornings, just around the city, just walking around, community outreach. But it makes me feel safer knowing that I can see them, that they're there, because, you know, having worked now in surveillance for 6 years, I know that nobody's watching the cameras in real time. So although there's cameras everywhere, they don't necessarily make me feel that safer. But this is where our software steps in. It bridges that gap.
Yeah, and then when anyone sees a camera, they don't imagine someone's watching them. They imagine a camera's watching them and it's recorded. That's more of an after fact thing, right? So that's interesting. And then there's a lot of bad press around AI watching people, picking up people's faces, understanding who they are. How do you manage that as a business, or how do you stay in that realm of staying out of that whole bad press situation and still delivering the value at the same time?
Yeah. So if I tell people that I work in AI, or if I tell people what I do, especially relating to cameras, they're like, "Oh, isn't that a big brother? You know, what do you want my face for?" Yeah. And I just explain the tech for good. You know, like we're doing this to keep people safe. We have saved lives. Our facial recognition within our software is a completely separate software offering. Actually, our customers in Australia aren't using it. So everything there's no personally identifiable information taken into any of our models about any of the events that we show our operators. It really just, we're just elevating what's happening to the right people at the right time, with the hopes of preventing something from happening, being in that proactive space, or helping people de-escalate a situation that could have got much, much worse. But people do normally jump to, there's no privacy, or big brother, you know.
Yeah, that comes up, and you see that over online, and I think you had Bunnings in the news, or whoever it was, Coles, or one of all these, and
They didn't do a lot of help for us, with those news articles.
Yeah, I imagine not for the positioning of the product and the concern in the community as to what's sort of going on. But yeah, reality is it is a safety mechanism. Yeah, I agree with that. In some countries, it's seen as complete facial recognition and tracking people across but that's not here in Oz, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you do have to explain that there isn't if it's AI on the cameras, that doesn't mean the same thing everywhere. There's different layers and different flavors of it. Different technology would do different things. We've actually had in the news here the last 2 days, WA Police have just rolled out live facial recognition. It's not our software, but it's live facial recognition in the city here in Perth. And I came in on Tuesday and they had cameras set up and they had lots of police around, I think just reassuring community, people asking questions. And then I walked home from work yesterday and I saw 4 people in balaclavas with baseball caps. So that they're making a point hiding their face. And I just think it worries me, things like that. It worries me. I mean, there is like, what are you hiding for? Like what? Yeah. What? Yeah. Also, people can track you and bank hundreds of other ways.
Oh, there are ways to track everybody now. Yeah, it's very hard in a digital world to disappear. You got a mobile phone that's pinging towers and telling you pretty much where you are and positioning with those 3 towers. So,
But you don't want you to see my face when I walk into David Jones.
no, the mobile, it's strange. It definitely is. But I think that's people just putting their back up and that big brother thing and just, feeling like they're maybe losing power and this is how I control the system. So it's each to their own, I'd say to that. In terms of where you're moving as a business, what do you imagine over the next 10, 20 years, where this technology will go, what the opportunities look like for a business like yours and even for community itself?
Yeah, and this is an interesting question. So in our product management function here, we actually only build our roadmaps for the next 3 months. And there's a disclaimer at the bottom that says they're subject to change. This technology is changing so fast, incredibly fast.
Too quickly. Daily, I would say.
And I mean, you can even see it with Anthropic and OpenAI. They're leapfrogging each other in terms of models and one's releasing every other week. And so this technology opens up a lot, but I don't think anyone fully understands what that could mean yet.
I agree. I think everyone's walking a little bit blind, and what that comes today is what the latest thing is. So it's a fascinating place to work in, which gives you that ambiguity all the time, really.
Yeah, and a couple of moves we've made here at Isotana AI is around the agentic workflows. So we actually do in parts of Japan and other parts of Asia, there's cleaning robots that come round. So we've actually built an integration with those. So our software will detect when there's spillages or hazards on the floor, and it then dispatches the nearest cleaning robot to clean it up. So that kind of autonomous workflow is in place in some parts of the world, but also agentic workflow for the humans. So if there's a hazardous chemical spill or something that's happening in a mall or on a university campus, we can ping people's phones and we can give them the exact steps to follow according to their own operating procedures that we've uploaded into our LLM. Who to phone? We can phone police automatically if we need to. So there's definitely kind of movements in that space. But in terms of the AI technology in general, it's just moving incredibly fast. We're having a lot of fun playing around with everything and seeing how we can use it.
Oh, I think everyone is in tech. A lot of people outside of it are a little bit fearful of where it's all going, but all I see is opportunity at this stage. Until someone says otherwise, or I find otherwise, there's lots of opportunity to create new things and different things that we never had before. You're talking to a robot to go and fix a spill that would never a possibility before. So there's so many more opportunities opening up, which is the exciting part of technology.
Yeah, and I think as long as you're using the technology to help a person or fix a customer problem, you're using it in the right way and moving in the right direction, and you're going to keep getting that demand. Customers aren't always right. You know that in product management. Real product managers know that.
Oh, definitely not. No.
And they love to come to you with just a solution. Just do this thing here. And you look at it and you're like, oh, that's awful. That's not going to work. Let's take a few steps back. Why do you want this? What are you trying to do? Yeah, let's design this together. And they're like, no, I just want a big red button here. Sometimes that might be right, but in my experience, it's not often.
Yeah, asking you for specifics is you do need to consider it definitely as a product. It's you need to take two steps back because there are layers that the customer doesn't understand either. Because it's in the end, yeah, they may have a good point in terms of a feature or an opportunity, but yeah, sometimes, like you said, it's the way it's delivered or different angles and thinking needs to come into it before an outcome comes to the fray. Yeah, it's very important for everyone out there. Sarah, it's been a pleasure jumping on and coming on the DevReady podcast, talking today a little bit about product, your background, and your story. It sounds like lots going on in Isotana AI, and I'm sure once you walk out this podcast, something's changed again because that's the reality today. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate your time and joining us on the DevReady podcast.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.